The much-anticipated season debut for the Scarlet Hawks boys basketball team took place this past Tuesday. The new-look Hawks hoped to give their energized fan base a good show as they matched up against a traditional early-season opponent in the King Philip Warriors. Milford was without the services of their starting point guard Shane Cosquet, who suffered an injury in practice, and early on you could see the Hawks would struggle to find a rhythm on offense. The Hawks would eventually get the scoring started on the night, with the captain Caden Kelly making a nice move to the rim for 2 points. After Kelly scored the first 4 points for Milford, he turned facilitator on this trip up the floor, dishing to a wide-open Zach Tomorrow, who would nail the three to put Milford up 7-4. It would be a sluggish start to the game as both offenses would try and work through the early season kinks. Eventually, Joey Everett would connect on an off-balance shot from the free throw line to collect his first points in a Milford uniform, and that would end up capping off a very low-scoring opening 8 minutes of play. Into the second quarter now, KP's dynamic big man Kyle Lehman would show some nice finesse, getting the shot to fall to cut Milford's lead to 1. But on the ensuing trip up the floor, Milford would immediately respond as junior captain Brendan White would drill a three-pointer for his first points of the night. As the first half continued to wind down, Milford would get solid contributions from a couple of juniors on their roster. Brendan Saylor would get an extended look at the point in Cosquet's absence. Here, Saylor shows great toughness down low, sticking with the play, and would eventually come through with the reverse lay-in. Later, it's White and Saylor teaming up to set up Caden Kelly with another good look inside to tack onto the lead. And then it's back to White, who sneaks through the back door to get the layup and the foul. White couldn't convert on the free throw, but Milford would pull down the board, and Tomorrow would produce his second three of the half, pushing Milford into a double-digit lead. KP's senior Pharaoh Davis would round out the scoring in the half, putting in his 5th and 6th successful free throws of the quarter, and so as the teams hit the break, Milford would enjoy a 24-15 lead. We'd see more good work from the tandem of Saylor and White to begin the second half. Saylor finds the junior captain with a no-look pass, and White takes care of the rest to re-establish Milford's 10-point lead. White would have a chance to further increase the lead minutes later, but he'd miss on a pair of shots from the line, which turned out to be a sign of things to come later on in the half for the Hawks. KP would capitalize on those misses as senior captain Tom Madden would take the ball to the hoop the other way. He'd chip in the and one to bring the score to within 7. After a Pharaoh Davis bucket kept things going for KP, Bruce Santullis would produce his first points of the night as he caught the Hawks napping down low, and suddenly the Warriors would make it a 2-possession game. Tom Madden would then look to narrow the gap further, but watch as the combo of White and Joey Everett team up to deny the KP bucket. That would give the Hawks a bit of a jolt, resulting in back-to-back buckets from White and Saylor to give Milford their largest lead of the game at 34-23. It felt like Milford was well positioned to take control of the game, but the Warriors refused to give in. KP would close out the third quarter on an 8-2 run, highlighted by this buzzer-beating 3 by Santullis, and that would bring the Warriors' deficit down to just 5 points, with the game shifting to the fourth quarter. In the opening minute of the fourth, Joey Everett would show off his quick hands as he'd pick off the pass from Nolan Bradley. As he took the ball the other way, he'd get fouled on his way to the basket. But just as Milford struggled from the line, going 1 for 5 over the first 3 quarters, Everett would suffer the same shooting woes, missing both of his free throw chances. Everett would stay active on the defensive end, coming up with another steal on KP's next trip up the floor. He'd dish the pass ahead to Kelly this time, who would get the bucket and the foul to give the Hawks a 7-point lead. But again, just when you thought Milford had the game in hand, KP would find an answer. With less than 4 minutes to go and Milford up by 6, Pharaoh Davis would shoot the pass out to junior star Kyle Lehman, and Lehman would drill a long-range 3 at the shot clock buzzer to cut it to a 1-possession game. One of the biggest difference makers in this game was each team's performance at the free throw line. KP scored 20 of their points on the night, courtesy of free throws, including 9 in the fourth quarter alone, while Milford would shoot less than 50% from the line. A Tom Madden free throw here with under 3 minutes to play would ultimately tie the game at 44 after Milford had led all the way. Under 2 minutes to go now, KP would look to deliver a fatal blow, setting up Lehman from 3-point range. The junior would misfire, but Santullis manages to tap the ball back outside, where this time Nolan Bradley lets it fly. It was the senior captain's only points from the field on the night, but they would be critical as KP seized a 3-point lead. Milford would try desperately to come back in the closing seconds, but they would be unable to come up with key shots when they needed them, and the Warriors would go on to seal the win from the free throw line. It was a resilient performance by KP and a disappointing fourth-quarter collapse for the Hawks. King Philip ends a two-game losing streak to Milford as they win this one by a final score of 53-47.